Have you ever wondered what the spark was that gave birth to rock? Before the packed stadiums, before the endless guitar solos, and before the leather jackets, there was a time when rock and roll didn't have a name. It was a wild sound cooking in small studios in the American South, a forbidden mixture of blues, country, and gospel that made teenagers lose their minds and parents lose their patience. Today, we aren't going to listen to music. We are going to listen to history. We are going to travel to ground zero, to those fragile vinyl records spinning at 78 revolutions that carried the sound of the future engraved in them. Get ready, because this is how it all started. Number 15. Susie Q. Dale Hawkins. That swampy, dirty guitar riff is the sound of swamp rock being born. Dale Hawkins, a white boy from Louisiana, took the rhythm of black blues and added an electric guitar that sounded like a mosquito buzzing in your ear. It was one of the first times the guitar took center stage, defining the role of the guitar hero before the term even existed. The song has a hypnotic, almost tribal groove. It didn't need complex lyrics, it just needed that constant cowbell and guitar rhythm that forced you to tap your foot. It was so influential that bands like Creedence Clearwater Revival and the Rolling Stones covered it years later to learn how to play real rock. The ending fades out, leaving you with the sensation of humidity and heat of the South. It is proof that rock wasn't born in big cities, but on dirt roads. But if we're talking about roots and cultural fusions, the next spot is Latin pride. Number 14. La Bamba, Richie Valens. That strumming of acoustic and electric guitar mixed together is unmistakable. Richie Valens did something revolutionary. He took a traditional Mexican huapango, a wedding song from Veracruz that was centuries old, and electrified it with the rhythm of rock and roll. It was the first time Spanish sounded so powerfully on rock radios around the world. Even though Richie didn't speak fluent Spanish and had to learn the lyrics phonetically, he put so much heart and joy into it that he made it immortal. Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poca de gracia. That phrase was tattooed into the DNA of all of us, proving that rock didn't have a language, it had attitude. The guitar solo is simple but invites you to stomp your feet. When it ends, you can't help but smile. Tragically, it became the legacy of a star that burned out too soon. But who opened the door for all the Latinos who came after? And speaking of legacies and guitars, Chuck Berry wrote the manual. Number 13. Johnny B. Goode, Chuck Berry. That guitar riff at the beginning is the ABC of rock. There isn't a guitarist in the world who hasn't tried to play it. Chuck Berry didn't just play rock, he wrote the poetry of the genre. He told us the story of the country boy who dreamed of seeing his name in neon lights, a story of overcoming that we all dreamed of at some point. The song has a train rhythm that doesn't stop. A perfect mix of blues and country that united white and black audiences. Chuck was a master of showmanship and storytelling, creating characters that felt real. Go, Johnny. Go is perhaps the liveliest chorus of the decade. The duel between the voice and the guitar is fascinating. Chuck sings a phrase and his guitar answers him. It is pure energy that defined how a rock band should sound forever. But before Chuck, there was a man with a spit curl on his forehead who started it all. Number 12. Razzle Dazzle, Bill Haley and his Comets. Although everyone remembers Rock Around the Clock, this song captures the festive essence of Bill Haley. Razzle Dazzle is an invitation to the party, to the innocent loss of control of the 50s. Bill Haley was the unlikely father of rock and roll, an older man who managed to connect with rebellious youth thanks to an irresistible rhythm.
That's the razzle dazzle, if you're ready or not.
The song starts with a shout of joy and launches into a fast rhythm where the saxophone and guitar compete to see who can make people dance more. It was the music playing in high school gyms, where boys with white socks and girls with circle skirts spun endlessly. The ending is an explosion of communal energy. Bill Haley taught us that rock wasn't just for listening, it was for participating, for screaming, and for sweating. But if Bill was the party, the next artist was the danger. Number 11. Good Golly, Miss Molly, Little Richard. That furiously pounded piano is Little Richard's signature. Good golly, Miss Molly sure liked to ball. That phrase had a sexual double entendre that scandalized the parents of the time. Little Richard brought church gospel and mixed it with street sin, creating a sound that was electric and forbidden.
Can't hear your mama call.
No one screamed like him. His raspy voice and howls were a release of repressed energy. In a time of racial segregation, his music was so powerful that white teenagers jumped ropes to dance alongside blacks at his concerts. He was a force of nature.
Hear your mama call.
The abrupt ending leaves you wanting more. Little Richard didn't just sing rock. He was rock in its purest and wildest form. And speaking of wildness and young talents, Buddy Holly and his friends had something to say. Number 10. That'll Be the Day. The Crickets.
Be the day when you say goodbye, yes, that'll be the day.
That dry start and Buddy Holly's hiccuping voice changed the way of singing. The song title comes from a phrase John Wayne said in the movie The Searchers. Buddy Holly took that cowboy phrase and turned it into a breakup threat full of youthful swagger.
Make me cry, you say you're gonna leave, you know it's a lie.
The brilliance of the Crickets is that they were a garage band before garage bands existed. 2 guitars, bass, and drums. They created the format that the Beatles would later copy. The song is simple, direct, and tremendously catchy, with a clean sound that contrasted with the noise of other artists.
Well, I'll be through, well, that'll be the day when you say.
The guitar solo is short and melodic, perfect for the song. Buddy Holly taught us that you could be a normal guy with glasses and still be the biggest star in the world. But sometimes, rock needed a bit of humor and a telephone. Number 9. Chantilly Lace, The Big Bopper. Hello, baby. That spoken intro on the phone is one of the most iconic and funny in history. J.P. Richardson, known as the Big Bopper, wasn't a traditional singer. He was a showman, a radio DJ who knew how to entertain. The song is a monologue of a guy flirting with his girlfriend on the phone, full of laughter and exaggerations.
Oh, baby, that's the one I like. You want that, baby?
It is rock and roll with a sense of humor. The rhythm is heavy and danceable, but what grabs you is the Big Bopper's overflowing personality. It makes us feel like we are listening to a private and spicy conversation. Tragically, he also died in the plane crash with Buddy Holly and Ritchie Valens. The ending, with him hanging up the phone excitedly, freezes in time that joy of living. It is a reminder that rock was also comedy and theater. And speaking of theater and fire, the next pianist almost burned down the stage. Number 8. Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis. From the moment the fingers run down the keyboard in that sliding intro, you know there's going to be trouble. Jerry Lee Lewis, the Killer, played the piano as if he hated it and loved it at the same time. This song transmits a speed and risk that make you feel like you're in a car without brakes. The phrase "great balls of fire" was considered blasphemous in the religious South, which gave the song an irresistible air of forbidden fruit. Jerry Lee sang with moans and screams, adding a sexual tension that terrified conservative society. He was the definitive bad boy. The ending is chaos, where it seems the piano is going to explode. It is pure adrenaline. But to understand where rock came from, sometimes you have to look at what was playing just before, the calm before the storm. Number 7. Pretend, Nat King Cole.
Pretend you're happy when you're...
This song isn't rock and roll, and that is precisely why it's here. It is the standard of romantic pop against which rock rebelled. Nat King Cole, with his velvet voice and infinite elegance, represented the adult world, orderly and smooth. Pretend is a beautiful ballad about dreaming that everything is perfect.
The little things you haven't got could be.
Including it in this list helps us understand the brutal contrast brought by the arrival of electric guitars. While Nat sang about pretending happiness, rockers sang about raw reality. However, his influence on melody and how to sing with feeling is undeniable for all the artists who came after. The soft ending leaves you in peace. It is the bridge between the era of big orchestras and the era of small, noisy combos. But let's go back to the noise with the first teen idol manufactured by television. Number 6. Stood Up, Ricky Nelson.
Well, I've been waiting ever since it.
Ricky Nelson was the star of a family TV show, America's Good Boy. But when he grabbed the guitar and sang rockabilly, he proved he had real credibility. Stood Up is a song about being stood up on a date, a universal teenage drama sung with a soft but firm voice. Ricky helped bring rock and roll into middle-class homes that were afraid of Elvis or Little Richard. His style was cleaner, safer, but musically impeccable, with great session musicians backing him. He was the bridge for many parents to accept this new devil's music.
Broken hearted again.
The guitar solo is by James Burton, one of the best guitarists in history, and gives the song a master touch. Ricky Nelson proved you could be handsome, be on TV, and really rock. And speaking of shoes and style, Carl Perkins wrote the anthem of rock fashion. Number 5. Blue Suede Shoes, Carl Perkins.
Free to get ready now, go cat go, but
Don't step on my blue suede shoes. That warning became the #1 commandment of rock. Carl Perkins wrote this song after seeing a boy at a dance worry more about his new shoes than his girl. It is the essence of vanity and youthful pride. Although Elvis made it famous later, Carl Perkins' original version has a cruder and more authentic rockabilly rhythm. It is the sound of poor Southern boys spending their first paycheck on clothes to feel like kings for a night. The guitar has that characteristic echo of Sun Records Studios. The ending, where he tells you that you can do anything but touch his shoes, is a statement of principles. It is rock as identity. But let's go back to Buddy Holly to hear a song with a woman's name that changed everything. Number 4, Peggy Sue, Buddy Holly. That drumming. It's not a normal rhythm. It's a constant roll, like the gallop of a horse or the beat of a heart in love. Buddy Holly was a studio genius who wasn't afraid to experiment. His singing style, with that characteristic hiccup, Peggy a Sue, made the song unique and fun. The story goes that the song was going to be called Cindy Lou, but the drummer asked him to change the name to his girlfriend's, Peggy Sue, with whom he had fought. It worked, they got back together, and the song became a classic. It is romantic rock and roll, but with nerve. The ending, with those fast guitar chords, is simple genius. Buddy Holly left us an incredible catalog before dying, and this is his brightest jewel. But if we talk about piano and scandal, Jerry Lee Lewis has to appear twice. Number 3, Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yes, I say, come on over, baby.
If Great Balls of Fire was fast, this one is hypnotic and dirty. It starts with a boogie-woogie piano that grabs your hips and doesn't let go. The song has a middle section where Jerry Lee lowers his voice to a whisper, talking to the audience, creating a sexual tension you could cut with a knife. It was banned on many radio stations for being too suggestive, which of course made it sell millions. Jerry Lee Lewis wasn't a singer. He was a preacher of the forbidden rhythm. This song captures the essence of a barn party at 3 in the morning. When the song explodes at the end, it is total ecstasy. It is one of the most visceral performances in the history of recorded music. But for the number 2 spot, we have another rebel with a leather jacket and a bad leg. Number 2, Bebop Alula, Gene Vincent. That echoey whisper at the start, Bebop Alula, she's my baby, is pure mystery. Gene Vincent had a wounded bad boy image. He wore a leg brace that made him irresistible. The song is slow, swampy, and menacing, different from the fast and happy rock of other artists. They say Gene wrote the song in a hospital while recovering from a motorcycle accident, inspired by a comic strip. The breathless voice and sudden screams created the archetype of the tortured and dangerous rocker. He was a massive influence for the Beatles and for all British rock. The guitar solo is sharp and cutting. It is a song that makes you feel like you are in a 50s gang movie. And we arrive at number 1, the song with the strangest name and the most contagious rhythm from New Orleans. Number 1, Rockin' Pneumonia and the Boogie-Woogie Flu, Huey Piano Smith. This is the coolest title in rock history. Huey Smith diagnosed an entire generation with a new disease, rockin' pneumonia and the boogie-woogie flu. It is a New Orleans song that mixes the festive rhythm of carnival with nascent rock and roll. The lyrics are hilarious, talking about wanting to jump and dance but not being able to because of the flu. The piano is the absolute protagonist, carrying a rhythm that makes you move your shoulders involuntarily. It is the song that best defines the fever that infected the world in the mid-50s. The ending, with the piano and the backing vocals in an eternal party, is the perfect cure. It is the foundational song that reminds us that rock and roll wasn't just music. It was an epidemic of happiness that, luckily, was never cured. Thanks for traveling to the origin of everything with me.